Hi students, myself Babita Matthew. Today I am going to discuss about the topic rupture of uterus. Let us see how the rupture of the uterus happens. So what is rupture of uterus? That is disruption in the continuity of all uterine layers. The layers are endometrium, myometrium and the serosa at any time beyond 28th week of pregnancy is called as rupture of uterus. So when the uterine rupture occurs in the layers of uterus, that is the endometrium, myometrium and the serosa, any time beyond the 28th week of pregnancy is known as rupture of uterus. We can see the causes. During pregnancy, weak scar after previous operations on the uterus. So if there is any scar of the previous surgical scar, that will become weak when the uterus become enlarged. Second, history of cesarean section. So that is VBAC. VBAC means the vaginal birth after cesarean section. So first is the cesarean section done, and second delivery. If we try for the vaginal delivery, what will happen? In the uterine contraction time, there is a chance of uterine rupture, that is VBAC, vaginal birth after cesarean section. Then myomectomy. If the myomectomy scar is there is a chance of rupture. Then excision of the uterine septum. If any surgery, that is excision of the uterine septum done, then that may be rupture during the pregnancy time. Then previous perforation of the uterus, that is D&C, hysteroscopy or forced delivery. That also causes the perforation of the uterus. So that scar may be further rupture during the time of pregnancy. This is we can see the rupture, the early rupture, the starting time of rupture of the previous. This is a previous incision of cesarean delivery. So this is a starting rupture starting. That is a initial tearing along the previous scar. Then it is the full rupture of the full thickness layer of the anterior vaginal wall is ruptured, and blood flowing outside into it will collect into the abdominal layer. We can see the classification of rupture. First is scar rupture. So from the name itself, it's a scar. So if there is any scar, so disruption of the entire length of the scar occur with classical scars. Rupture occurs late in the pregnancy or early in the labor. Bleeding is slight unless the placenta is lying underneath. Then rupture of lower segment occurs. Scar occurs with the obstructed labor. It is accompanied by tearing pain. Bleeding may not be heavy. This is the features of the scar rupture. That is the previous surgical scar. That is the entire length. The scar is ruptured. Next is dehiscence. It is the disruption of the scar and not the entire length. So dehiscence means slightly separating. It tends not to cause any bleeding and is without clinical significance. That is a dehiscence. It's a slightly separating. This is not the rupture of entire length of the scar. That is dehiscence. Next is spontaneous and the traumatic rupture. Spontaneous rupture, it occurs during the labor owing to myometrium weakened by the previous scar. So there is a spontaneous. So when the myometrium weakened by the previous scar during the labor, it is rupture. That is a spontaneous. Next is traumatic rupture. It may be caused by trauma. It is any injury resulting from obstetrical instrument, obstetrical interventions or accidents such as fall, blow on the abdomen, like any accident or fall in the floor, okay, or any accidental blow into the abdomen. So these all causes the rupture. That is trauma or injury. So trauma causes the rupture. That is the traumatic rupture. You can see from this picture. This is the rupture of this is a rupture occurs in the uterine wall and baby is out to the abdominal wall. Then complete and incomplete rupture. So complete uterine rupture extends through the entire wall and peritoneum with the entire contents spilling into the abdominal cavity. So the complete uterine rupture is occurred. That means the entire wall of the uterus is ruptured. So what will happen? All the contents will be came to the peritoneum. So entire contents is coming to the abdominal cavity, spilling into the abdominal cavity. And incomplete means an incomplete uterine rupture extends through the endometrium and myometrium. So peritoneum is not ruptured, but it is complete peritoneum is also peritoneal wall also ruptured, but is incomplete only the endometrium, myometrium only ruptured. Next we can see just now we see the different types of uterine rupture. Next we can see the causes of rupture of uterus. First is weakened uterine scar, that is improper healing of the previous surgical scar or any surgery scar. An interval between the pregnancies less than 6 months. Previous pregnancy was LSCS, and next if she became pregnant within 6 months, that may cause the weakened uterine scar, the over distended uterus. So the first pregnancy is cesarean section, and in the second pregnancy if uterus is overly distended, that may also weaken the uterine scar. So what first cause is the weakened uterine scar. Second, extension of cervical laceration. If any lacerations in the cervix, that's extended to beyond the cervix to the uterus. That is the use of forces before full dilatation of cervix. So before the full dilatation of cervix, if we use the forces, that will cause the cervical lacerations. Then pushing of baby out to the incomplete dilated cervix. After without full dilatation, if we try to push the baby out to the uterus, that may cause the cervical tear, and tear may extend to the uterine wall. Okay, that is the extension of cervical laceration. If there is any laceration occurred in the cervix, that may extend to the uterus. Next is the obstructed labor. So that is obstructed labor usually in the multiparity, overstimulation of the uterus, then cervical dystocia, overstimulation of uterus by the oxytocin drugs, and cervical dystocia. Cervical dystocia means it is stuck between. Then excessive use of pitocin. So when we use the pitocin drug in excessive amount. Then cephalopelvic disproportion, already you studied in the previous class. This is a disproportion between the pelvis and the fetal skull. So these causes, this obstructed labor is occurred due to these causes that may furtherly lead to the rupture of uterus. Next, manipulation of uterus. That is the internal pedalic version and the abnormal internal pedalic version and the abnormal presentation. So when there is abnormal presentation, we are trying to make it the normal position by internal pedalic version. That is the manipulation of uterus. That is weak uterine scar, obstructed labor, extension of cervical laceration, and manipulation of the uterus. Next, we can see signs and symptoms. Impending uterine rupture. That means trying to rupture the uterus. What are the signs? There will be abdominal pain and tenderness, pathological retraction ring. So retraction means a ring formed between the uterine wall. Then increased uterine irritability, hematuria, sign of hypovolemic shock because of internal bleeding, and fetal distress or fetal death. These are the this uterus is impending uterine rupture. It's a beginning the uterine rupture. Then complete uterine rupture, severe abdominal pain, sign of hypovolemic shock because of the fluid bleeding, and per vaginal examination, per abdominal examination, abdominal tenderness, fetal body under the abdominal wall can be physical examination will be done. The abdominal tenderness will be the fetal body under the abdominal wall can be felt, and absence of the fetal heart rate. Then per vaginal examination, vaginal bleeding will be the ascent of fetal presentation. That is, the presentation may be ascent. That means it's with maybe we can see the above part, but we cannot be feel the fetal presentation part in the lower portion because it is already ruptured and go to the abdominal cavity. Then incomplete uterine rupture, that is, there may be mild symptoms and sign, and hematoma in broad ligament will be seen. That is the incomplete uterine rupture. So these are the signs and symptoms: impending uterine rupture, complete uterine rupture, incomplete uterine rupture. Next, how can we diagnose the history of pregnant woman related to any previous uterine surgery? We have to take the proper history about the previous any surgeries and the previous pregnancy, labor. Then clinical manifestation we have to see for by the clinical manifestation. Then ultrasound of the uterus should be done, and laparotomy confirms the diagnosis. Next, the management of suspected rupture of the uterus. If we are suspecting for the uterine rupture, what we have to do is warning signs we see. We have to call for the obstetrician, midwife, anesthetist, pediatrician. Then we have to start an IV assist. IV cannula should be started via 2 wide bore cannula and start the fluid, because there may be chance of hypovolemic shock. That's why we have to start 2 IV cannulas. Then cross match the blood for the transfusion and immediately transfer the patient to theatre for delivery by cesarean section unless forceps delivery is possible. Then repair uterus if appropriate. If required, do hysterectomy. If we cannot do the proper suturing or closing the uterine wall, we have to do the hysterectomy. And then how can we prevent the uterine rupture or prophylaxis? The at-risk mothers or the mothers who are at risk likely to rupture should have mandatory hospital delivery. These are contracted pelvis, previous history of cesarean section, hysterectomy or myomectomy, and corrected transverse line. If we cannot correct the transverse line, and grand multiparity, known case of hydrocephalus babies, and then general anesthesia should not be used to give undue force in external position. So all these conditions, the mothers are at risk. So all these conditions, if the mother having the risk, we have to be careful while they are in the next labor. Then undue delay in the progress of the labor in multiparous with the previous uneventful delivery should be viewed with the concern and cause should be sought for. So if the previous pregnancy, if she had complained of the lead or the labor progress was delayed, then in this condition we have to, next pregnancy you have to check for the cause for the delay. Then judicious selection of the cases with previous history of cesarean section for the vaginal delivery. So if the woman had previous history of cesarean section, we have to check or find out the cause why they done the cesarean section. Then if the cause was adequate, then only we can go for the vaginal delivery. Otherwise, do not try for the vaginal delivery. If it was because of the cephalopelvic disproportion patient has undergone the cesarean section, there may be chance for the next delivery. So that's why should not try for the VBAC or the vaginal delivery after cesarean section. Then judicious selection of cases and careful watch are mandatory during the oxytocin infusion, either for induction or augmentation of labor. Because of the severe contraction, there may be chance of rupture. Then there is hardly any place of internal podalic version in singleton fetus in present day obstetrics. It should never be done in obstructed labor as an alternative to destructive operation or cesarean delivery. So we can nowadays this is not allowed to do the internal podalic portion for the single fetus in the present because it should be done in it should be later be cause the obstructed labor. So so that's an alternative to destructive operation or cesarean delivery. Then attempted forceps delivery or breech extraction through incompletely dilated cervix should be avoided because there is a chance of tear or the tear in the cervix and maybe extended to the uterus. That's why when the forceps delivery or the breech extraction without full dilatation should be avoided. Then destructive vaginal operations should be performed by skilled personnel and exploration of the uterus should be done as a routine following delivery. So after the the destructive vaginal operation, destructive vaginal operation, that means if the baby is dead and we are taking the baby with many procedures, with many techniques, that should be done by the skilled person. Otherwise there is a chance of tear on the uterus or the injury to the uterine wall. So that's why then after every delivery we have to do the exploration of the uterus. It should be done as a routine following the delivery to find out any tear or anything in the uterine wall. Then manual removal in morbid adherent placenta should be done by senior person. We already studied in previous class the manual removal of the placenta. So it should be done by a senior person. So that's all about the uterine rupture. I think you are understood about the causes of uterine rupture, what are the signs and symptoms, and how can we manage it. You can see a small video about the uterine rupture. When there is uterine contraction, severe uterine contraction is usually occur. So there is a small, the patient is on pitocin and the contraction is severely occurring. So patient had a previous scar on the uterus. So when the excessive use of pitocin, what will happen? The uterine scar is slightly, there is a dehiscence occur. Then uterine rupture with the hemorrhage and it will be collected into the uterine the abdominal cavity. This uterine rupture allows the baby to push out of the uterus. So when the contraction is occur, it will be push the baby to the abdominal cavity. You can see once the baby is extruded through, there is a separation of the placenta from the uterus will be occur. When the baby is got out, there will be separation of the placenta will be occur. So again the contraction, if it occur, the blood is interrupted. When the placenta separation occur, abduction of placenta is occur, what will happen? So placenta when it's separated from the walls, the blood will not reach the fetus properly. So normally the from the mother, usually baby gets the oxygenated blood. So when it is disruption, it will not get the proper oxygenation. So when the placenta is with no connection between the placenta and the uterus, baby cannot get the oxygen properly. Then baby will come. The signs of the uterine rupture include slow fetal heart rate and bradycardia, and there may be fetal heart rate. You can see like this. There is a variation. The baby is not delivered quickly. Baby may be permanently injured, and the death may be occur. You can see. So the baby brain death will occur without the lack of oxygen. Lack of oxygen causes permanent damage to the baby's brain cells, and the death of the baby may be the outcome. So that's all about the uterine rupture. I think all of you clearly understood. Thank you once again.